If you are watching this, then I'm going to assume that you're a business owner that is absolutely frustrated by social media. Because the reality is that most of the business owners I talk to are frustrated by social media. You've been posting, you've been showing up consistently, you've been scrolling for different ideas, you've been following the advice of this guru and that guru, and you're putting in all this time that you really don't have to spend on this, and you're getting nothing, right? That's a lot of the times what's happening is you're not getting anything out of it, and you start to wonder, is this something that's even worth my time? Is it just something I'm not able to do, right? Because agency fees for management are high, and as someone who does management for people, they should be, okay? But that doesn't mean social media can't work just because you may not yet be in a place where you can hire an agency. And if you are, that's a whole different conversation, but you should still probably understand these fundamentals so you know how to measure whether something is working or not. See, most business owners fall into one of two camps. I should be able to post content on social media to get business. Camp one. And camp two is, I don't think social media works for my business because I posted content trying to get business and then I didn't get any. And that makes sense. The problem is that if all you're doing is posting about you and your services and your stuff on social media, nobody cares, really. I know that may sound harsh, but like I want you to think about how you feel when you scroll social media. Are you looking for somebody else's sales pitch? Or are you looking for something to teach you something or to entertain you, get your mind off of whatever it is that you were probably supposed to be working on in the first place, right? So like, apply your user habits to your audience. If you're posting, I have a sale today, and that's all you ever give them, why on earth would they engage with that? Right? It's been coined a few times over as like selfish content, but really the idea is that you need to be putting your customer first. Now, most of the time, when you're looking at advice from social media gurus on the internet, what you're getting is you're getting a list of tactics. And the reason that you're getting that is because the algorithm rewards us for creating it, honestly, because you like it, because you get to do the things on that list and then feel productive. You've checked something off. But the problem is that, like, work for the sake of work is not something that any small business owner really has the time for. And what's actually missing in most social media accounts for small businesses is a strategy. And that's not something you're just going to be able to tick off. That's something that you're actually going to have to sit down and think about. Hi, my name is Liz. I own Wildflower Social Media, and I am really, really, really passionate about teaching small business owners how to actually use social media in a way that makes sense, whether they are marketing pros or not. Because you should not have to be a master in marketing to have a functional business with leads coming in. Now that you know who I am, let's get back to what we were talking about. Social media should be able to bring your company leads. It should be able to help you get business. It is often not going to do that if it operates in a vacuum. It is often not going to do that if you don't see it as a part of a system. It is not a one-off task that you hand to your nephew, niece, or some other person in their 20s, irony, I know, to get done. It's something that you need to think through from your customer journey perspective. You want to set your social media up in a way that it actually helps people make the decision to work with you. And that last decision-making piece is not the only part of that customer journey. Now, you have probably heard advice around consistency. You've probably been told, oh, if I post every single day or if I post 3 times a week and I just keep creating content, eventually this will work for me. And that's just wrong, actually. Like, yes, consistency is important, but only if you are creating content that makes any sort of sense or has any sort of strategy. Otherwise, consistency on social media is work for the sake of work, which again, you sincerely do not have time for. There are so many other things that you could be spending your time on right now. So I'm sitting here telling you that consistency is not enough, and consistency is important once you have a strategy in place. But before you have a strategy of any sort in place, it is just going to create a lot of work, which means what is a strategy? The word strategy has been thrown around by a lot of people, and it's kind of become a buzzword, which is unfortunate because it makes it confusing. It's not a content calendar. All right, that's the first thing that I want you to understand. A lot of the times when you hire a social media manager, they will tell you that you are getting a strategy and it is a content calendar, and that is not their fault. There is a difference between a strategist and a manager, and people who do not come up through marketing don't know that. So it's just something to be mindful of. So in our next video, I'm going to go more specifically into how to create your strategy, but for the sake of this video, a strategy should answer 4 main questions, okay? The first is, who is your person? And I do not mean women 25 to 34. No, that doesn't do us any good. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm 28, and honestly, I have more in common with most 40-year-old women than I do with other women in their 20s. When you are thinking about marketing and marketing copy, obviously there are some offers that need to have age restrictions, like when you're thinking about health issues and stuff like that. But for the most part, you're really going to want to get to know that person. So make sure that you understand who your target audience is, not what they are. Does that make sense? And the second thing is, what do you want people to do? What do you want that target person to do? Now, look, almost everybody's like, well, I want them to buy from me. Okay. All right, that's fair. But that's probably and eventually what do you want them to do? In order to create a strategy, you want to come up with the things that you want to do that lead them through that buyer's journey. So what are those specific steps to help you get them where they will eventually buy? If you're not specific, you are not going to be able to measure. You are not going to be able to tell where the break in the chain is. Thing 3, what do you need to say to that person to get them there? So that's that bridge, right, between who they are and what you want them to do. And the 4th question is, where do they spend their time? Now, I am a really big proponent of not putting all of your eggs in one basket, okay? I hate to see it when people are not repurposing any of their content, because sometimes stuff happens. You don't own social media. You don't own the social media platform. So if one of them just suddenly goes offline, because that's definitely never happened before, one of them suddenly goes offline and it's the one that you picked, I would hate for you to lose all of that. Although I often do tell people to focus their strategy on one specific platform, especially if the resources are stretched thin, especially if they're just getting started, and then to expand out after that piece has been like made into a habit, right? So if you are really wanting to grow on LinkedIn, like you're a B2B platform or you're a B2B company, really investing in figuring out your LinkedIn strategy with repurposing in other places. And then once that strategy is and implementation is really going, then expanding and tweaking to better fit other platforms. That's a whole other video that I could get into again, but just keeping that in mind. So once you have those 4 things in place, right? Who they are, what you want them to do, what you need to communicate to them to get them to make that, and then where you're going to show up, content becomes a lot easier. So it's a lot of groundwork, but it becomes a lot easier because you're not guessing anymore and you can create a system. I'm a really big believer that social media and all marketing is a part of a system that works together. And so you may not be able to do all of this in social media. You may need to get them over to your email list or something like that. But all of that becomes clear when you do these steps first, instead of looking through a list of content ideas for the month of April and trying to iterate on them as close to your brand as possible without thinking about that customer journey. So yeah, creating content does get easier when you have a strategy. The second thing is that happens when you actually put together a strategy is you stop chasing trends all the time. Look, I love a trend the much as the next gal, right? Or maybe you don't like them, but yeah, I do social media, so I think they're cool. However, they are not the end all and be all of your marketing. And they should not be. You are a business. You are not a content creator. You should not be copying what other people are doing as the basis of what you do for your business. That doesn't make any sense. You can add trends for potential increased reach or just because they fit in and they're just like a creative way to kind of stay with the times. Once your strategy is in place, so you have these other supporting pieces, it does not work in place of those pieces for a business. That's one of the reasons why sometimes you will see accounts with large amounts of followers that are not monetizable, which is super not helpful for you as a business owner. Okay, sorry, let me get off my soapbox a little bit, but that just drives me absolutely crazy. And the last thing, and this is the most important thing, is that when you develop a strategy, you start to build towards something. You are able to measure where the breaks in the chain are, and you are becoming consistent in a way that is recognizable even for people who are not following you, because you are giving the same feeling and the same trust building each time. So whenever they are ready to buy, because remember, like at any given time, like 95% of people are out of market, right? So you want to become the person that when they go into market, you are the one they want to buy from. And social media is excellent for that. But you start to build in that manner, which is how social media can support your business goals. So all of that being said, I'm going to take a guess as to why, when you've been posting on social media, nothing's come out of it. And that's because nobody sat you down and explained to you how social media for business actually works, because you're not a content creator. This cannot be your full-time job. You are a business owner. You are most likely handed a bunch of tactics and then kind of told to figure it out and left scrambling because, you just like don't remember the last time you thought you were going to post, or you told yourself you're going to post 5 times a week this week, and no. Go through and work on those 4 questions, those 4 things that you should know for your marketing, so you actually have a foundation to start with. So you have a lens to run through content ideas or ideating through. Over the next few weeks on this channel, I am going to be walking you through how to build a strategy for your business. And I'm going to use as plain of language as I can possibly get to, because it's really important that even if you are not an expert in marketing, you understand this piece so that you can actually talk to your marketing people, or do it yourself if that's where you are right now. If you want to make sure that you see the next video, go on and hit subscribe. And if you're already at a point when you're watching this video where you're like, I do not want to do this by myself, I need some help, that's totally fine. I'm going to leave some links to show you how you can work with me. And I'm also going to leave the link to my newsletter if you're looking for some more resources directly into your inbox. I will see you next week.